Master Anatomy and Physiology with Indra Mani Pandey.
Guys, this is another lecture regarding body regions and different organs which lie on those body regions. From this lecture, you will understand that the different parts of the body, like basically body cavities, which we may talk about dorsal and the ventral body cavities, and we will focus on different subdivisions of dorsal and the ventral body cavities. In last lecture, we talked about directions, planes, and just mentioned about the regions of the body, and I told you that we mainly gonna focus the thoracic region and the abdominopelvic region. Before I dive into the thoracic and the abdominopelvic region, we need to understand some body cavities. The human body has different body cavities, but anatomists just divide these topics in like simpler way, basically in two subdivisions, which is dorsal and the ventral body cavity. The dorsal body cavity and the ventral body cavities are also subdivided, and those cavities finally reach to the abdominal and the pelvic cavity and the thoracic cavity. These cavities will form or will arise from the ventral body cavities, as we know. But let me explain in brief so you can understand what I'm talking about. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to start from here because these all things are related with the basic idea in this box. The body cavities. The body cavities, basically there are two types. One is dorsal and one is ventral body cavity. The dorsal body cavity is subdivided into the cranial, which is the skull part or the head region, and the vertebral or spinal, which is the backbone. Remember that brain and the spinal cord are covered by a membrane called meninges. Now, on the ventral, which is the front or the anterior part, which houses many internal organs. Okay, those organs are very important for the life function. Okay, remember the ventral cavity is divided into two main subdivisions. One is thoracic, which is the top part, and another is abdominopelvic region, which is the bottom part. And remember that abdominopelvic cavity also divided into abdominal cavity and the pelvic cavity. And for easy purpose, we just combine those as a abdominopelvic cavity. The thoracic cavity has a pleural cavity which houses the lungs, and another mediastinum which contains the pericardial cavity. Okay, these all about the cavity. Remember the ventral cavity, where thoracic cavity and the abdominal cavity are separated from each other by a structure which is dome-shaped structure which is called diaphragm. And remember, any like the ventral body cavity is like covered by a membrane. That membrane is called serous membrane, which is thin and double layered. Remember that the serous membrane has parietal and the visceral part. The parietal folds itself to form the visceral serosa. Remember, the serous membrane also covers the internal organs too, and the serous fluid is also present there, which reduces friction, and it has a great function in homeostasis or homeostatic balance. Now, the four quadrants of the abdominopelvic region are right upper quadrant, left upper quadrant, right lower quadrant, and the left lower quadrant. The right upper quadrant has liver, gallbladder, duodenum, right kidney, adrenal gland, right? Basically the right adrenal and the half of the transverse colon, while the left upper quadrant has spleen, stomach, left kidney, left adrenal, and the half of the transverse colon. And if you look the right lower quadrant, which has cecum, appendix, right ovary, in the case of female, right ureter, ascending colon. And in the case of left lower quadrant, you have sigmoid colon, you have left ovary in the case of female, left uterine tube in the case of female, left ureter, and the descending colon. These are the 4 quadrants. But if you look the abdominopelvic region, it is very important to assess those things too. It is divided into 9 regions, which can be represented right hypochondric, epigastric, left hypochondric. And on the middle part, right lumbar, umbilical, left lumbar, right iliac, which is often known as inguinal, and you have a hypogastric here, which is pubic, where you can find different reproductive organs here, left iliac, which is inguinal, where you find the sigmoid colon. Here you can find cecum, umbilical, you have umbilical cord here, okay. Here different, like here ascending colon, you're gonna find here descending colon, epigastric, transverse colon, left hypochondric, you're gonna find spleen, and the right hypochondric, you're gonna find liver, okay. And the pylorus part also, okay, the pylorus part of the stomach also. So this is all about the abdominopelvic regions. And in next lecture, we'll talk about the cells, the smallest unit of life, the living things, okay. So you need cells to survive. As we talked of in the structural hierarchy of the organization of the body, we talked about cells also. Cells communicate with each other, and they are very responsible for the life function. Okay, see you next lecture.
Please subscribe to see more videos regarding anatomy and physiology.